Good morning to one and all. My topic of discussion today is bioceramic sealers. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Nandakishore J. Verma, working as dental surgeon in Bharat Hospital, Coltene from Kerala. Let's begin with brushing up our knowledge on the progression of dental caries. As you can see in the slide, it shows an image of a tooth becoming infected in its different stages is shown in this picture, from a clinically normal to an infected with periapical abscess. And as you know, the treatment for these stages, from early enamel caries to dental caries, it's possible to restore the tooth with different materials such as composite, GICs, etc. But in case of an infected tooth whose pulp is infected and it has a periapical infection, the treatment will be RCT or root canal treatment. Now the question is, what is root canal treatment? Yes, it's the treatment which involves removal of the pulp tissues from the tooth, shaping the canal, cleaning it with different solutions and filling it with a filling material. What are its steps? Yes, it's access opening, biomechanical preparation and obturations. Now let's see what is access opening. Why is it important? Yes, as you can see in the images, it shows the steps of access opening and different tooth with access opened, showing the pulpal floor and the opening of root canals. Okay, let's see what is the goals of an access cavity preparation. According to Vertusi, it's the removal of all carious material and carious tooth structure and conservation of the tooth structure and complete de-roofing of the pulp chamber to locate all the root canal orifices and to access a straight line to the apical foramen. Now, what is biomechanical preparation? Yes, it's include shaping the canal to have a continuous tapering and conical structure which allows the prepared root canal the quality of flow. That is, it allows the sealer and heated Gutta Percha to flow and to fill in the root canals. It has an objective to keep the apical foramen as much practically as smaller and should not transport the apical foramen. It uses a series of tapered instruments or files and the use of chemical agents like sodium hypochlorite, twin clean EDTA for the cleaning of root canals and to make it bacterial free. The biological objectives are the confinement of the instruments in the root canal, ensuring necrotic debris are not forced beyond the apex, removal of all tissues from the root canal, creation of sufficient space for optimal obturation of radicular space. These are Schilder's objectives. Now let's see the different methods of biomechanical preparations, mainly three types: step back technique, hybrid technique and crown down technique. In the step back technique, it involves the cleaning from apical third, middle third and coronal third, while in case of step down technique, it is just the opposite, from coronal third, middle third and apical third. And for hybrid, the coronal third instrumentation is done first, then the apical third and at last the middle third is done. I am not going deep into these subjects or these topics since my topic proper is not this, just brushing up, that's all. Now the final stage or final step of RCT, that is obturation. The different methods include cold lateral condensation, warm vertical and warm lateral compaction, continuous wave compaction technique, thermoplasticized injection technique, carrier based technique, which include thermophil thermoplasticized and simply filled sectional obturation, thermomechanical compaction by Max Pedal, solvent technique, which includes chemically plasticized Gutta Percha, and custom cone or paste and cement technique. Cold lateral condensation. It includes the placement of sealer coated master cone into a sealer coated root canal, compacting or condensing it laterally using a spreader, then placing sealer coated lateral or accessory cones into the canal till we get a 3D fill. In case of warm vertical condensation or compaction, a primary non-standardized or greater taper Gutta Percha cone corresponding to last instrument used is fitted. The canal is coated with a thin layer of root canal sealer. The master cone is inserted up to the working length. The coronal end of the cone is cut off with a heated instrument. A heat carrier, such as a plugger, is used for this. A vertical condenser or plugger of suitable size is inserted and vertical pressure is applied to the Gutta Percha to force plasticized material apically. The remaining portion of the canal is plugged with warm sections of additional pieces of Gutta Percha. The materials used for obturation. It includes the oldest silver cones, Resilion, and the commonly used Gutta Percha points and sealer. Now let's see what are root canal sealers. They are used in conjunction with biologically acceptable solid or semi-solid obturating materials to get a tight seal of root canal system. It's nothing but they are chemicals which are used to coat or seal the root canal surfaces, its irregularities, and the small lateral or accessory canals where the solid or semi-solid obturating materials such as Gutta Percha can't go. What are the functions of root canal sealer? Yes, it's to obturate the lateral canals, acts as a lubricant, improves an impervious hermetic seal. It can assist in microbial control. It's given for a increased radio opacity and as a filler for canal irregularities and minor discrepancies between root canal wall and core filling material. Let's also go through some ideal properties of a sealer. It should be excellent sealing property. It should adhere to wall and filling material, a radio opaque, non-staining, dimensionally stable, ease of mixed and placing into the canal, insoluble in tissue fluids, bactericidal, should have adequate working time, easily removable if necessary. Now the classification of sealer or types of sealer based on the chemical composition. It's divided into zinc oxide based sealers, calcium hydroxide based sealers, glass ionomer based sealers, resin sealers, and bioceramic sealers. Now the classification of sealer or types of sealer based on the chemical composition. It's divided into zinc oxide based sealers, calcium hydroxide based sealers, glass ionomer based sealers, resin sealers, and bioceramic sealers. Now let's begin with the proper topic of the day, bioceramic sealers. It has many examples which are available now in market like Cerasil B, Cerasil, BioRoot RCS, BioC Sealer, Guttaflow Bioseal by Coltene, Cerafila CS, etc. On hearing the term, we may have many questions in our mind like what are bioceramic sealer? Why do we need that? What makes it so different? Let's check it out. What are bioceramic sealers? They are sealers those contain calcium silicate and or calcium phosphate as their main component. Yes, they are sealers which contains calcium silicate or calcium phosphate which help in the rebuilding of hydroxyapatite to make it stronger seal with the dentin wall and the master cone or GP points. What is bioactivity? Bioactivity of a biomaterial plays a key role in tissue regeneration and healing. The performance of calcium silicate materials is largely attributable to their bioactivity, that is, their capacity to release calcium ion and produce apatite-like crystalline precipitates when in contact with phosphate-containing physiological fluids. The precipitates are produced as a result of the dissolution of calcium hydroxide formed via hydration reactions. The resulting increase in alkalinity and calcium concentration enhances the supersaturation of phosphate containing fluid with respect to apatite and hence promotes precipitation. Now let's go through its properties. It is biocompatible and do not induce any critical cytotoxic effects. It helps in the formation of a nanocomposite network of gel-like calcium silicate hydrate intimately mixed with hydroxyapatite, bioceramic and forms a hermetic seal when applied inside root canal. They precipitates calcium phosphate on hydration with the same strength as human bone. I-root BP is non-mutagenic, does not cause an allergic potential after multiple uses and has a good tolerance by subcutaneous tissues. High alkalinity increases the mineralization process, also its bactericidal properties. Hydrophilic and root canal hydration aids in the formation of calcium phosphate, hence gives strength. Low contact angle, hence these features also allow them to spread easily over the dentin walls of root canal and to get inside and fill the lateral canals. These new bioceramic sealers also form chemical bond with the canal's dentin wall. That is why no space is left between the sealer and dentin walls. They are also osteoconductive and has very good radio opacity. Hydrophilic and root canal hydration aids in the formation of calcium phosphate, hence gives strength. Low contact angle, hence these features also allow them to spread easily over the dentin walls of root canal and to get inside and fill the lateral canals. These new bioceramic sealers also form chemical bond with the canal's dentin wall. That is why no space is left between the sealer and dentin walls. They are also osteoconductive and has very good radio opacity. It has a setting time of 3 to 4 hours, hence it gives ample amount of time for placement in the root canal. Bioceramics do not shrink upon setting. In fact, they actually expand slightly on completion of the setting process. Furthermore, bioceramics will not result in a significant inflammatory response if an overfill occurs during the obturation. It has a setting time of 3 to 4 hours, hence it gives ample amount of time for placement in the root canal. Bioceramics do not shrink upon setting. In fact, they actually expand slightly on completion of the setting process. Furthermore, bioceramics will not result in a significant inflammatory response if an overfill occurs during the obturation. Types of bioceramic sealers. They are classified into 3 main different types according to the main content as calcium phosphate silicate based, pure tricalcium silicate based bioceramic sealers, tricalcium silicate and resin based bioceramic sealers. Now let's see in detail the product of the day, Guttaflow Bioseal, a bioceramic sealer by Coltene. Let's see its composition. It has Percha powder particles, polydimethyl siloxane, platinum catalyst, zirconium dioxide, calcium salicylate, bioactive glass ceramic, color pigments, nano silver particles, silicates, silicon oils and zinc oxide. Let's answer the question, why do we need bioceramic sealers? By looking into its properties. Due to the good alkalinizing activity combined with low solubility, slight calcium release and ideal calcium phosphate ratio, Guttaflow Bioseal has appetite forming and bioactive abilities and represents the first choice for optimal root canal sealing and regeneration of bone and tendon tissues. Its flowable 2-in-1 cold filling system, that is, it has sealer and Guttaflow particle in a single system. Expansion, no time consuming condensation required. Yes, we do not need any time consuming condensation processes. It is available in a double barrel syringe with a mixing tip which allows a homogeneous mix to be dispensed either directly coated into a Guttaflow cone, which has this material has an expansion potential, so there is no need of any condensation. Adhesion to Guttaflow point and tendon wall. It has better adhesion to Guttaflow and tendon wall. The use of additional sealers is not required. It has sealer in itself, so no other sealers are required. It has excellent flowable properties which helps to fill the irregularities and lateral canals, allows for excellent post preparation. Solubility is virtually zero, so micro leakage is reduced. It has an optimum protection against reinfection due to silver particles. Excellent radio opacity is we get a tight seal of the root canal. It has a working time of 5 minutes and curing time 12 to 16 minutes. After curing, the new Guttaflow Bioseal forms hydroxyapatite crystals on the surface. The crystals significantly improve adhesion and also stimulate natural triggers, especially the regeneration of bone and dentin tissue. MTA or bioglass have exhibited similar regenerative and supportive properties. However, the major disadvantages of these materials involve the long curing time and complicated handling. Guttaflow Bioseal also combines free flow Gutta Percha with an appropriate sealer at room temperature. Now let's go through the results of some different research studies. First one, the effect of AH plus and Guttaflow Bioseal sealers on the fracture resistance of endodontically treated roots instrument with reciprocal rotary system. The result obtained was both the sealers, which was tested like AH plus and Guttaflow Bioseal, improved the fracture resistance of the obturated root without statistically significant differences between them. The lowest mean value of the fracture resistance was seen in the control group. Now let's see the result of the second research, that is sealing ability of AH plus and Guttaflow Bioseal. It was shown that the mean leakage in the Guttaflow Bioseal with GP group was lower than GP with AH group and the control group. Guttaflow Bioseal can be used in single cone obturation technique. Next study was about Guttaflow Bioseal's cytotoxicity assessment in vitro study. It was shown that Guttaflow Bioseal shows a lower cytotoxic potential or profile compared to the AH26 sealer. Let's see one more study about Guttaflow Bioseal as monocone obturation technique, a scanning electron microscopy study. It showed that Guttaflow Bioseal with the GP cone shows better coverage as compared to Roeko Seal Automix root canal sealer and a GP cone. Yes, it says that the Guttaflow Bioseal has a fluidity which permits a uniform flow in the root canal, which causes minimum number or lesser number of voids and shows a continuous filling and proper filling in the root canal, and adhesion between the root canal wall or dentin wall and the master cone or Gutta Percha cone was excellent. After looking into the properties and the results of many studies, now let's see how can we use this clinically. It has a dual barrel syringe with a mixing tip, so we can easily get an homogeneously mixed sealer at the tip. You can either directly inject the sealer directly into the root canal, or you can just put it into a mixing pad, coat the Gutta Percha or the lendular spiral with the sealer, just transfer it into the walls of the root canal. If you are using directly into the canal, just use your master cone or the lendular spiral, just pump it 2 to 3 times up and down in the canal, coat the master cone with the Guttaflow, place it until you get the tuck back. If you need any other accessory cone, you can place it in the similar way, cut it, your obturation is completed. This is very simple, very time saving to use.
To fill a canal with the new Guttaflow 2 syringe delivery system, apply light pressure to the plunger to dispense the premixed material from the tip. Insert Guttaflow 2 into the root canal with the master point, the last used apical file, or a lendular spiral. If using the master point, set the apical stop, coat the master point, and then apply Guttaflow 2 to the canal. Remove the master point, recoat with sufficient Guttaflow 2, and slowly insert the master point for permanent placement. If the canal is not completely filled, coat 1 or more accessory Gutta Percha points, insert into the canal, and sear off the points with a heated hand instrument. No lateral or vertical condensation is necessary.
Now let's conclude. The properties of Guttaflow Bioseal, such as its availability with the incorporated Gutta Percha and sealer into a single syringe, its ease of application and the availability of homogeneous mix with mixing tips, its expansion properties, better adhesion, less voids, antimicrobial properties, all this combined together make this a better sealant, which reduces the chances of root canal treatment failure. For references, you could refer Grossman's Endodontic Practice, 13th volume, and for references of the studies which was shown in the slides, it is given in the respective slides. I hope you all got some ideas about the root canal treatment, its different steps, the sealers used, and especially the bioceramic sealer and Guttaflow Bioseal. Thank you all for listening to my small lecture.